morning, Beef and Barnzy fans, and we are back, and we're going to have a little second half preview today. But first, I'm going to bring in the talent and brains of the operation and my partner for over a year now, Beef Stew. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
I am good. I had probably more sleep last night than I've had, it feels like, in a month. So I'm all good here. So feeling good, feeling great. The second most important thing on this show, after you, of course, is your board to see what we got today. Stu's new favorite F word is 40.
Yeah, I am this is my last show in the 30s. So Monday is that terrible day. We went back and forth on what the board was going to be. I was going to be like, man, I felt old, and then I remembered Chris.
That's not.
But Tina felt like she'd already punched you between the eyes with the board last time, so that she was moving along. So yeah, it's been an emotional ride in my 30s.
Well, the back half's been, the last year's been pretty interesting when see pandemic and some things that not really like you'd like, but Manchester U, right?
Liverpool, but yeah.
Liverpool, yeah, one of them.
Yeah, I mean that's a bit like
I'm a big soccer guy, obviously. I'm all in.
Yeah. That's a bit like telling a Longhorn that you guys made the playoffs, didn't you? No, that was the Sooners.
Your best man Timmy and Belmo are Liverpool. Or
Timmy Belmo's Liverpool. Timmy supports Paul Delaney's team, West Brom.
All right.
You're not supposed to have heard of them. It's okay.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, it's been a fun week. We have family in town, so we've been having a bit of fun with that. So yeah, unfortunately, I still don't have my family here. We're hoping for a July 4th of the opening the borders.
I just read, and Verity's getting back and forth. How is she able to do that? But
the same way Dom's able to do it.
Okay, it's a sports type of exemption.
Yeah, the work scenario. So we'll see. It seems like seems like things are moving along. So we bring good news. Good news on the Beef and Barnzy show, Chris.
We do, and a friend of the show, 100%, and somebody I'm glad to be on board. Well, I'll let you bring it in. So.
Yeah, we have a new sponsor for the Beef and Barnzy show. Lightning Strikes over in Fort Myers. Correct, Fort Myers. Yes, Fort Myers in Florida. It's a cool bowling center. Robert Eddy runs a bunch of tournaments out there. Monthly events, in fact. So we're going to be partnering up with him and trying to promote those events. And we thank him for his support of the show. Me and Chris are particularly fond of that bowling center. We've only each bowled there once, and we both have a 300 game there. So, what more can you ask? I
think it's a very cool story of how he got into it.
Yeah.
Mr. Eddie, he's just loved the bowl. He was at the other bowling center, felt like he wasn't getting treated very well. A 16-lane center that was in foreclosure and fairly in disrepair by most accounts. Although you wouldn't be able to tell it now. He went in, bought the center, put in a couple $1 million, and this place is a giant footprint, 16-lane center. There's cameras that are permanently affixed there, so they can live stream basically any event they bowl. You have Larry Lichting, who is now a local resident, who does the commentary for it. So you have great storytelling to go along with it, and he just likes putting on events. And his real money, so to speak, as if bowling money wasn't enough now, is he is the fruit supplier for Publix, and he has 3 stores, I believe, that's farm to table. And
yeah, and we went in there, didn't we, Chris? We had breakfast there one morning. It was quite a fun experience. They had one of the biggest fruit and produce sections I think I've ever seen.
It was like Whole Foods on steroids.
Yeah, and which is kind of ironic considering they're supposed to be organic. No, just a fun phrase to use. Yeah, I did explain to Chris that I would rapidly gain back the weight that I'd lost if I was anywhere near one of his stores, because they have a lot of pastries and stuff that I could eat on the daily, maybe even twice daily. So yeah, it's awesome to get another partnership with the show. Hopefully it's a long and fruitful.
Man, we were very funny today.
A long and fruitful relationship, and off to a good start. So let's talk PBA50. The second half, I guess, or the PBA50 almost feels like it's like a hockey game. It's almost in thirds, because you've got the stuff going out in Vegas as well, like is now in September.
Yeah, I mean, where it really happened is right here in the middle is where the Masters, U.S. Open, and then Brentwood, which is at the northern, up around the Stockton, Sacramento area. We're all kind of supposed to be in this middle stretch where there is nothing. So it was supposed to be a continuous play with some small breaks, a week in between while you're moving coast to coast. But as it turned out, they didn't know what things would look like by then. And so those got moved back into the fall area. And so now there's those first 5. You have 2 here in the middle, another couple of weeks. And then oddly enough, there's a bunch of tournaments scheduled on top of each other with PBA 50 and regular 50 all the way through, where the summer tour and the PBA 50 summer tour basically kind of stack for a couple of weeks, and then they're on top of each other for a couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, and then you end up going out towards the West Coast. I think there's an event in Fountain Valley. It looked like there was one maybe in Arizona, and then the majors.
Yeah, there's some stuff coming on as we go. It seems like they're doing a nice job. I mean, really, the PBA 50 tour is much like what we would like to see on the regular tour, with lots of events. I think there's going to be 14 to 16 events this year. It's a pretty solid schedule. Obviously sponsors and money would that makes everything better, but it's a very nice schedule and a lot of opportunities to bowl around the country. And we start off this weekend at your nice other favorite place and one of our favorite proprietors in Jimbo Evans at Lubbock.
Yeah. So we're good. That's going to be a major. Do you know what you're actually bowling on yet? Have you
45-foot Dick Weber?
Okay, so probably kind of back.
Yeah.
You must have given me the wrong address then, Adam, because it's been sent. So 45 feet. I guess they're going to be pretty much how they were, the Super Cliff.
I don't know. You never know. I don't know what. I think Eric Pearson's doing the lanes this week, as Sean is otherwise.
It's the PBA Tour Championship. Is that what it's called? PBA Tour Finals.
PBA 50 Cup is what this one is, and Sean's at the PBA Tour Finals, and so Eric Pearson, which he was a long time lane man with USBC. Unfortunately, the left-hander going into that building, so we'll see how that turns out. But the one thing about 45 feet is that tends to generally even out a little bit of the fact that the left gutter hook's pretty good there. But to be fair, most of the time it's really Jacob on the PBA side that beats that place up.
Yeah.
Pattern suits that place pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a Jacob problem, not necessarily a left problem. Most of the time I've been there. I mean, I know that Ryan would beg to differ. The last time he was there, I believe him and his partner got their ass handed to them by a pair of lefties.
Yeah, Mason Edmondson and
Kevin Pennington, was it?
That might be right. Yeah, and they just they put a number on them. They put about 550 on them and smashed them. So, yeah. He would probably beg to differ, at least on the house shot.
So here's one of our friends from the UK, Paul, also known as Mr. Europe Man. Always wears the big. It was his birthday a few days ago, so happy birthday, Paul. Yeah. So with it being 45 feet, I imagine that your first two balls that you're going to want to have a look at are your Reality Dull and your Reality Shiny.
That may be the first two balls I'm looking at anytime they're kind of on the soft side and there's enough oil in the front. Yeah, and exactly. It's the Reality Dull has been fantastic thanks to our folks right here. You talked me into shining up a Reality, and how many of them liked it, and it's been really good at blending out some of the wet dry, and so that's going to be part of the plan going forward. And one of the balls I hope is a big difference maker for me this second half of the PBA50 tour, and let me get through the front of the lane and still not have to do as many tricks as it feels like I have to do to even it out. So.
Mika says the lanes are on the soft side in the PBA50.
Yeah.
It seemed like in a couple of the blocks, Chris had the opposite of what he wanted. They were hard for him and easy for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So going from the regular tour to the 50 tour, obviously you had your first. Did you bowl 3 events or was it 4 events?
Ended up going 3 of the 5.
Yeah, so you bowled 3 events.
Yeah.
What do you think was your biggest takeaway from what you really need to change, and what's going to be the difference maker? Well, hopefully the difference maker going into the next.
Yeah, I mean, it's really that some of the skid flip balls and things that you look for on the regular tour to take advantage of when the lanes break down, well, they start out a little bit more wet dry than that at the very beginning. And so more control type balls, but you still have to get the ball through the front because they don't use as much volume because the average rev rate is way closer to probably 275 out there, 275 versus the regular tour, which has gotten closer to 475. And so less surface in the front of the lane, but still have to figure out how to blend out the wet dry down lane, and speed was not the answer at least 2 of the 3 places. So it's been a little bit different. I just have to get my eyes to see it a little different. It was checkers and I was playing chess. And so if you play any game by the wrong rules, it turns out it's very difficult to win.
Yeah, Cody is giving you the insider track here. Cody's up in Lubbock. He says, from the qualifier they ran last weekend, Reality looked really good to start. Zen after the first couple of games, typical South Plains, gutter and track hooked a lot. And when the guys went left, they could flat out wheel on it. So maybe you might take advantage of that 400 rev rate. Maybe.
Yeah, I've thought that a few times already and been wrong. So, yeah. Well, historically, though, 16-pound Badgers have been pretty good there with a touch of surface because the front does hook a bit and the track's pretty developed. They do a lot of lines there. And so, it is a pretty good place to hook it off the track. And so I think that's probably in play. I'm looking for the Reality. Actually, the ball, I think, does have a pretty good chance out there on that tour that after watching your ball review is that UFO alert. something shiny gets through the front, but is a little more rolly than some of the other balls around it, and so
Definitely.
that may come in really handy.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely look to it on the slightly longer patterns.
Mr. Lesko, just play the shim, right?
Just easy. I mean, why would you do anything else? William Gannam says, which is easier for you to bowl on, PBA50 or Sasper? Right now, his bank account would say Sasper.
Yeah, for sure. They're actually a little more blended in Sasba from some of the ones I've bowled on.
Him and Jim Stevens taking everybody's lunch money.
Oh, I don't know about that. They took some of mine last time in Houston.
Tony says that place hooks a lot. I'm in.
They all hook on the left, Tony. It's good. You're all set. So,
Cody, there's always shim in Longview.
Yeah.
in Lubbock, and then it says except in Longview.
Yeah.
Chris didn't bowl.
I didn't bowl that one. I still managed to lose money in it, but yeah, the fact that Maldi didn't break 100 over is probably the only stat I need to know.
I'm not 100% sure the end of that was like, I'm not sure that Maldi was really like charging. One of our other proprietor friends out here in Dallas, in the Dallas area, Mr. Dodson, was a smooth 290 under bowling with Maldi.
Oh.
So I'm not sure if he wasn't in that many brackets. The last game was that important to Maldi.
Yeah.
I don't think his career Sasper average was that important to him.
Yeah, Tony, you're right. The Village, they did have an even up week. They even made them to where Couch could win, so they had to even it up somewhere. No, I don't know. I think it was a little surprising, actually, the pattern, how much it didn't. Parker made the finals there, and watching his ball, it certainly was one of those cases where, as much as the right likes to bitch about the left and we're not bowling the same thing, the left was not bowling on the same thing there that we were. So they over-adjusted a little bit. Once Parker throw one, and it got all the way about 6, and it tiger planed all the way to the right or left side of the 2-pin. I went, oh.
Hey, like at that point, you just got to go Tina's mom. Oh, well.
Oh, yeah. You didn't feel bad about it when Couch was smashing them in Clearwater, but
no. So, John, you shouldn't believe everything you hear on TV. John says, interesting to hear Randy say Chris and Norm are the only 2 players who throw 16 pounds. Guessing most throw 15. Nobody throws 14 on the men's tour, I don't believe.
You might be talking about the senior tour, and that's probably
I'm
guessing probably accurate on the senior tour, because obviously you throw 16. There's about
10 of us.
Yeah, that throw 16 on the regular tour. The senior tour, yeah, almost.
Sam Cooley is another one who's had pretty decent success throwing 16 pounds.
Yeah, Anthony Lavery has thrown 16 for quite a while.
Matt McNeil, if we count him, but he throws 16 pounds. So yeah, a lot of guys who are good on house shots throw 16. Weird that. You almost make it seem like that you get an extra hit every now and again.
Yeah, when you play the shim and it skids into the pocket and weight matters. 45 is another one of those distances where weight could matter.
Yeah. Real quick. Here's another guy from Wisconsin who's a little bit delusional. Bucks in 5. He apparently they were going to walk past the Atlanta last night. Trey Young had a different opinion. ALS is dropping to 15.
I'll ask him about it today. I'd heard that rumor. He was talking about it, and he's had it. He had an unusually struggle year, which is surprising, to be honest, because I would have guessed him to be a potential breakout player this year. And but it has not gone well. And to be honest, pretty much since COVID, he that he caught back in December, he has not played to the level that we've seen over the last 2 or 3 years. So,
Keith Lasco says he throws 16. Don't look like it, Keith.
he does. Oh, we love Keith. Keith is the senior version of AJJ.
Oh shit! That's great. Okay, so with you're thinking that you're going to use some bigger balls with some shine.
Yeah, because things like in the SADS was like where the flux and some of those balls work that can be pretty clean and still off, but medium big cores that blend it out some. They don't blend as much as reality. I think UFO Alert can play in there. We're gonna mess around with a little bit more of that. I'm gonna go with a little bit more of your theory, which you like ASIMs to blend out the cliffs, and they do get forward for me faster, and so that might end up working out well. I had a UC2 that worked okay. It's just that's an awfully quick cover to go along with the core that you're trying to get to, and so it worked in Clearwater though, and I got to the show because of it.
For sure. I mean, my thing with it is I use a lot of asymmetrical balls on house shots because my biggest issue on the house shot is leaving the 2-pin. And I find it easier to take that miss out of play.
Chip off the old block here. Shots fired right back at Lesko.
But anyway, that's more. Oh yeah, there you go, Brian Leclerc.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's kind of why I like it, because I feel like I'm giving myself the best chance when I fuck up and miss left for something that's actually going to pick up in the oil and go through it.
Yeah. And that's a little bit too, like you have more rotation, you clear the front easier. And so missing in, I tend to like to roll it, but the one thing that hasn't really worked is when I over roll it, the lack of volume in the front has made the ball. It's basically negated the fact that, I can get it to even out in the wet drive, but it's also lost so much energy that it still won't do anything. So some of the tricks and the things that I instinctually do have not worked as well out there. They tend to be probably 15% less volume, maybe a little bit more on the senior tour.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to adjust how I'm seeing the lane a little bit. And I think even at this stage, how much ball your energy loses in the first 15 feet sometimes is still the hardest thing to see without a pair of eyes behind you. You only get 2D from the foul line sometimes. And so you pick up your ball until 15 feet that well. And so we're going to go with less surface in the front because it's an opposite problem of the other tour. I have plenty of hand on that tour, so I don't need as much there. Just even it out with some smoother bowling balls with some polish.
Yeah, one ball that I would encourage you to try in that same vein is an Axiom shiny. I think that cover, that NEX cover, takes polish quite well. And I think it quickens the ball up a little bit.
And it might as well, because it hasn't been. It's just too big a ball for the amount of volume out there, and it's been kind of useless. And since I'm driving to Lubbock, I can, the last couple of times I went with 6 balls, so and just kind of went with whatever was there. And so that makes some sense. I think that's probably a good play, and something we'll look at this afternoon as I put them all together.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a trick I have. Who cares about splitting the 8-9? No, you're splitting the 5-6 pretty well, boss. Not so much the 8-9.
I was going to go with the 9-10, but yeah. What's this? Axiom versus Axiom pearl shape difference for you, Stu. It's kind of funny because the Axiom comes dull and I like shining it, and the Axiom pearl comes shiny and I like putting a little surface on it. So maybe I try and make them too similar. I feel like the Axiom pearl for me is very strong for a pearl ball, especially in the front part of the lane. So putting a little bit of surface on it, and I don't mean a lot, I just mean cracking the surface a little bit. I feel like it's a ball that I can keep closer to the head pin because it's not going to change direction as much. So for me, the Axiom is obviously more rounded than the Axiom Pearl. The Axiom Pearl makes much quicker of a move, but it tends to be more forward. Whereas for me, the Axiom, because I use it shiny, is very round in shape. Because it doesn't have one spot where it really wants to hook. It kind of hooks the whole lane. So it's kind of weird, but a lot of the time in the way I see those balls, the Axiom actually covers more board on the back end because the Axiom Pearl stands up so much harder, and then it tends to be forward down the lane.
Yeah, not that that's a huge part of our crew that is with us here, but that's a two-handed issue. Like for Ryan, that Axiom Pearl is a great ball because it controls, like you say, it locks up and gets forward, and it evens out those wet-dry patterns and lets him control tough patterns and overwalled ones more than, say, the Zen, which then he just makes it hook this much. And that code, which you may see, coincidentally, we're going to do some filming later on today, and we're going to give you a look at what that thing looks like. And
yeah, we've got some we've got a competition coming up that we're going to let you in on next week. But that should be that should be a bit of fun. There's going to be there's going to be some bracket bowling with the bowling balls, and we are going to have some we're going to have some prizes. We're going to have some giveaways with our sponsor, Bowlers Mart. No doubt there'll be some Beef and Barnzy merch included too. So we'll probably have all the details for you on Tuesday. I think I'm going to do the show by myself on Tuesday because Chris is going to be bowling. So we're going to do a show Tuesday, and then Thursday is looking like it's going to be the product show, which actually works out really good because it's the day before the code black, the dark code, and the UFO alert come out, and the burners.
yes.
So
we have some video of all those, and we'll do a little breakdown there as well. And it's a day off in between for me. Perfect in between the two.
Co-host for Tuesday, William Gannam. I mean, I've had worse ideas. Linda's screaming for Tina. Get Duke as a co-host. I'm not sure that Norm's got that much time on his hands. Norm will be bowling too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I have to look at the roster again.
It seems weird to not.
Go ahead.
I said it seems weird to not go and bowl a tournament that you can bowl for 15,000. So.
Yeah, he tends to bowl the majors mostly. So actually, I'll pull it up real quick. But one of our guys, of course, Rick Benoit. There is a ball that it works. It will work on something. Every ball works on something.
Throw them all. One will work. King Sterner for co-host. Hi, Dave. One of my guy who rescued me last time I was in. Last time I bowled Fort Sill and I left something behind in the hotel room. I still appreciate you for that.
He is bowling, by the way.
Lawrence says the better looking Williams. Let's be honest, it's not a tough competition, is it?
Well, it's a solid.
Yeah, that might be an option. Yeah. We'll throw around some ideas.
Imagine how early he would have to get up to prep. Not his material, not his homework, just his hair and his body waxing. Yeah.
So Craig asked a little quick question about which of the new burners have you preferred so far?
Yeah, it's actually a little bit of a tough question because at first glance on the fresh, because they are really clean balls, they both hook miles. But the solid and the pearl do separate from each other once they start to break down a little bit. From a Arsenal standpoint, the pearl will probably be in there because it's a little more different, a little more unique than some of the other pieces, really, even than say I've used emeralds and and afterburners and those kind of balls down at the bottom. It's certainly it's really clean and it is very directional, at least off so far. And I need to practice on it with it a couple other places. I believe we can throw them in the PBA50 stuff this week. I believe there
I
are.
think so.
Yeah, those two, the alert and the dart coat, should all be available. Actually, probably should have been able to throw the burners at the King of the Lanes, but I believe I was told incorrectly. And so,
yeah, one real quick question on that.
Yeah.
So the purple afterburner became kind of the one that everybody kind of liked.
Mm-hmm.
Rash was very much on that train about 6 months to 8 months before everybody else. How would you say that the pearl one compared to the purple one?
It feels like it's probably 2 to 3 feet longer.
Oh, okay.
But keeps up with it overall. It hooks on it, where the afterburner purple might not need quite as much friction overall to be used. I do feel like that maybe the burner will take advantage of of a lane that's hooking a little and be better on that end of it. I think you could even complement the two balls. They might be enough different. I thought the purple afterburner picked up quite a bit in the mid lane especially for a ball at that price point.
And I feel like it bridged the gap quite nice from the hustles.
It did. It was a different shape than the hustles. And that's always sometimes the problem when you have things made out of the same place is they're really not that much different. But those two did not step on each other at all, even though number-wise they looked somewhat close. But in reality, they're very complementary.
Yeah, and there's a couple more hustles coming. So, like I say, with the way the lane surfaces have been going, and it's not this isn't being disparaging to the bowling centers. It's just a fact of life. After time, it's a good problem to have if your lane surface is getting bad because it means that you've had a lot of lineage. But it's just a fact of life that we need to find different solutions. And with rev rates going up, I mean, even in just regular league, rev rate in general seems to be going up with every youth. I really feel like those ranges are going to start to be the ones that, they're going to become really popular.
In the circle of life, I mean, it took lane surfaces about 20 to 25 years with wood to get bad. Most of those surfaces got to where they were replaced in the 80s and 90s. So now we're 30 to 40 years later, and they're still they don't hook nearly as much as the wood did then. But we're starting to notice the friction because the surfaces are smoother, and so they pick up. And there's so much more volume on the lane that you can tell when there's not. And so the difference is there's a lot of open play. So a lot of these surfaces aren't going to get replaced. And like Stu said, it doesn't really matter. It just changes the challenge a little bit. And there's not a lot of new surfaces out there, and it's going to cycle back around where companies are going to need cleaner and balls that have more angle, and that's going to be right in the wheelhouse of the Storm Rotogrip 900 Global balls because they're going to have the most responsive covers that clear the front easiest.
Yeah. We're having Cody and his wife are good friends with Tina. Stu outkicked his coverage by a few miles with Tina. I mean, I think that's a little rude.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that.
I mean, really, you've talked to Tina? Do you know that for sure? I met her mom, and every wife turns into their mother. So hopefully, Linda's not tuning in right now.
Empress Stephanie, a Polish princess. Here's one that is actually a possibility. This is a strong possibility because I think Mike's finished school. So if Big Mike's available, I'll see if he wants to come on and chew the fat because Mike's kind of entertaining.
You saw it here first. How the Beef and Barnzy show changed.
Well, late with that advice, Linda.
it was a good run.
The board is coming for you, Barnzy.
Bring all you want on Tuesday. I dare you. I won't be here.
Do you feel each company under the Storm umbrella have their own niches? No, not really. I feel like they have ranges that I feel like you could use any of the ranges as an entire range.
Yeah, my new sleeping quarters. All right.
I think he's talking to me, but I don't know why I would be in trouble. Maybe because you're my friend.
No, he's talking about where I'll be sleeping. Because on the couch.
Trying to figure out what's going on outside.
Yeah, I think every brand's doing a pretty good job of filling out their entire line with, say we break them down into that 6-ball thing, and I mean the one ball that gets overlooked the most is probably heavy control because it's the least used by league and recreation players. It's a much smaller niche, but from heavy angular down through dry angular, I think there's huge plays. Dry control even. So, I think each company's balls are a little bit different each other because the initial philosophy changes some. And so
yeah,
balls that we like, and that's the best thing about it being opened up is, I can like a PBR, which may not be that great for everybody else. Or say I like the Emerald IQ. Stu doesn't really like that one. He likes the afterburners, way more, and we see a little bit of that. And so there's small plays off each other, but just fit different skill sets a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the only part where we don't really fill out that is that Storm is the only one with a urethane ball, like that's in production at the minute. So that's where it's the Barnes Brigade, the Barnzy Brigade. Talking about your team name, still looking.
Yeah. I think it may be the king and his cheaters instead of his jesters. So the left-hander and two-hander. So
Anthony asked a good question. How do you two avoid the sheer volume of choices and avoid paralysis by analysis? So Chris avoids the choices a lot of the time. Like he is just like, well, I don't need that one, so I'm not going to drill it. I go kind of the other way. My brain wants to know what they all do, and then I can pick the ones that I like. So I pretty much drill every ball they release. I mean, I don't drill tropical breezes or whatever that we're calling them this week. Is it tropical storms maybe now? I don't know. I don't drill the tropicals because I have no need for them. But outside of that, I drill most of the hustles. And I just feel like when Global came in, the two balls that I was really interested in drilling was the Zen and the Reality. And I didn't really have that much need to drill the others. So I didn't really drill that many of the Global balls outside of those two. The one I really it was the Reality came out newer. No, it was the Volatility Torque was actually the one I really wanted to drill. The Zen and the Volatility Torque, because they were the only two that were radically different. So I've kind of done that a little bit, and then I go back and forth with Chris kind of on the Global balls over, which ones do you think would add something. So then I actually drilled my one afterburner at Chris's house. That's kind of the way I've gone about it because I've kind of known what the balls have done.
And for me, it's I actually watch reviews. So when Stu does reviews on balls, it's actually very helpful for me because I'm not a first. In general, I'll be obviously the first to drill with Global balls and throw those and get some ideas on them and get that information out as quickly as possible. But with some of the other brands, we're not on an auto ship list, so I'll wait to see because historically big ASIM balls are not really my favorite thing. So I'm going to wait and watch a little bit first before, okay, that one continues a lot, which is what I need for them to be good. That's why the Reality is an outlier in the big ASIM range for me, is that it has a big continuation window. If they lock up and go forward fast, those are not my deal, and those are something that Stu can use way more, and then he can use his skill set, which is higher speed, more axis rotation, and they'll pick up in that spot. We're in the oil a a little bit better and allow him to go after him. So
yeah, and like I say, it's I also think that because I've been there for so long. See, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. Rick says they're all good. You just have to learn how to use it best. I don't agree. There are some balls that are turds. Like there just are.
there's a few, there are a few that don't fit today's environment very well.
Yeah, and when I say that it's a turd, it's like a turd for you. Like Joe Blogs down the street might be able to use it, but there are some balls that just don't work for some people, and that's just it's okay.
That's basically what we're talking about. Like the idea between balls and drillings is to fill in what you don't already do well. So I have a core set of balls that I really like, and they roll good. So I'm just trying to fill in, hey, what do I do well? Generally, for me, it's create length. So I wanted to try hustles and emeralds and things to go along with my afterburners. So I had more options in that range to allow me to throw it slower and roll it more. Stu likes the other side. He wanted volatility torque, a ball that monster core inside of it to see if once it got through the front, did it pick up and give him a different shape than some of the other balls. We're all just trying to fill in what we don't do well or as well naturally.
Yeah. Oh, they're called Tropical Surge now. Thanks, Buff. Tropical Surge. That's what they're called.
Global cores that aren't produced anymore. I think the line of balls where they didn't have an inner core turned out to be pretty successful. And whether it's reality or just perceived reality, no inner core. Those balls that are all cover stock and then just the core itself, they seem to strike more. So, and it's probably just a perceived thing, but once you believe it, it's truth. And so, and that's something that isn't done now. So that's probably the one thing.
Let me just answer this question quickly.
Yes.
Larry says, are the pros going to be at Junior Gold this year? I've not seen much about what will be on at the fairgrounds during registration. I'll be there behind my plexiglass. That's how we're doing it, apparently. So we'll see. So yes, there are going to be some pros there.
Yeah.
Outside of me, I don't know who else.
For the first time, and I don't remember how long, I won't be at Bull Expo or Junior Gold. I've been at one or the other, I think, pretty much every year for the last 20 years. But so, that'll be, I'll miss that part. It's a busy day, but it would be really interesting because there's 1,200, to 1,400 kids that go through that day, and there's going to be some protocols in place. So, yeah.
Like he said, his son loved chatting with you. So that was nice.
Team name. Yeah. Dad's here because mom was busy. There's probably a fact there. Second choice. Second choice in the Suns. Yeah. It's not bad. Black Ops. That's the epitome of a really clean cover with a monster core in it. And was pretty good, especially if you had some axis rotation. So,
I was about to say, to me, that's the definition of a niche ball.
It was. When it was good, it was fantastic.
Hero or zero.
As Linda's speed went down a little bit, that ball became in that spot. When it was good, it was certainly unique and gave her a lot of things. Tough in a 6-ball arsenal, much fantastic as a 7th, 8th, because when it is good, it's enough to win you a tournament, kind of thing. And that thing was so long I can't even get through it all.
So Linda said she loved her Black Ops. Brian said he loved the Ops cores with mid-range covers. John says girl dad dropping vicious vernaculars. Try saying that again.
You got it. You did. And it sounds much better in an English accent. So
yeah. Fortunately for me, most things do. So outside of that, you've gone with the big balls. Obviously, the Zen is going to make the trip. It's a given. Maybe even spoil yourself and drill a new one.
Yeah, phase twos and Zens are going to go back and forth. I have a little bit of a tricky situation coming up because I'm going to fly back and forth between PBA50 and regular stops and then back to 50s. And so I'm almost going to need
two sets of balls,
which I am not really that well set up for at the moment. So I'm going to have to scramble to get those. The good news is I can drive to the openers of both, so I can get the balls there. I just have to get them drilled and kind of get them set up. So I'm going to have a spare ball in each venue. And get some stuff set up that way.
Did that blue mix make it home?
It did. I am not that guy. When they stop hitting the one that's closest to you, I find that very often it didn't have much to do with the ball. And
I do feel like you've been sparing much better with the other one though. I thought you had do you have the black one now again?
No, I have two blue mixes.
Oh, I thought you had. I thought you'd changed your grip back because you had that black one that they had on the truck that got plugged.
Oh, it blew up.
You were sparing good with that one.
I do really like the all plastic ones. The all.
Mm-hmm.
But when you blow on GSX machines, they get punished, and so.
And we tend to track fairly close to the holes.
Yeah, and so that it just takes enough shots around that thumb there that I do it spare balls, not so much with anything else anymore, but but yeah, it gets beat up.
He said, Aaron Ridey said, "Our spare's important. Asking for a friend. Is that friend got the initial CB?"
Well.
Oh dear. Thanks, Alan. Hashtag 528. Don't understand.
That's what he shot at Nationals when their team shot 32-40. So
yeah. Oh, I didn't realize it was that many. I top roped him.
Yeah, no, evidently they weren't that important because I managed to give away every bit of count I possibly could.
Still won.
And won both of those games. And the only game I actually bowled halfway decent, I lost. So, yeah.
Life's a bitch.
Well, if I'd got what I deserved and lost in the first round, I'd be a lot unhappier about how poorly I bowled.
Yeah.
That's the fact. So, it was a pretty miserable spare shooting exhibition. We've put in a few sessions. Well, not a set, So we've put some special attention on shooting the ones by themselves in the interim.
Yeah.
On the PBA50 side, if it gets that bad, I just hook at them. But
All right.
But it's hard to throw an extra double when you're averaging 235. That it gets harder to find an extra 2 strikes in a game. So.
We got really one quick question here, Chris. Chris Herman says, "I'm bringing a supersonic and a brand new Dream on. Does it make sense to drill a Zen for Vegas?" Yes, it always makes sense to drill a Zen.
Yeah, I mean the Zen is kind of it's become the new phase 2 or
it's basically. I was about to say it's basically the 2020 high road.
Yeah. It's a ball that fits, and I just haven't hardly seen anybody where it doesn't fit in their arsenal.
Mm-hmm. And the lane comes to it. It just comes to it a bit sooner than it used to come to a high road.
Right.
It's the transition.
It hooks enough in the front. Ironically, it didn't look great at King of the Lanes.
No.
It did it for a few of the women, but
they were using them pretty dull. The ladies
taking more surface off of them, and I think there was just a little bit too much oil down lane in general. So bigger balls across the board end up being better for the guys. But yeah, that's the Zen. The Zen fits in between those two as well, I believe, and so.
The Zen is miles. Someone says if you have a high road, how is the Zen different? The Zen is miles stronger than the high road. There's just so much more oil on the lane now. than when the high road was really, really popular. We're talking about on tour, not necessarily the rest of the time.
Ironically, a high road on the PBA50 with the lighter volumes might actually be okay.
Yeah.
Something to think about, huh?
I like the high road with surface. 16 pounds. Also, you got to remember, for me and Chris, 16-pound high roads are slightly slash a lot different.
Yeah, they're a lot. Same with Badgers.
Hey, Kyle, he says, just got a Zen going with me to nationals. Fits perfectly between the UC2 and the Synergy. That's what we've been seeing as well.
Yeah. Well, I think Synergy is actually even considerably cleaner than either one of those two. So, but UC2 and Zen are a pretty good complement because the cores they're both pretty clean through the front. They're both fairly responsive, but UC2 more responsive with a bigger core. Seems like for me anyway, it locks up pretty quick.
I think we have to take the L on this one because it's what she wrote is actually pretty funny. Kelly says, it looked good at the King of the Lanes. It was the Zen Ith made by Brunswick. Ha 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 ha. I guess we have to take the L on that one because that ball did look okay.
Oh, there you go. Well,
do you see a big difference in reaction between pin up and pin down Zens, or is it still going to be pretty snappy on the back? That's definitely a you question because I've never drilled a pin down Zen.
I did drill it pin down, and really, I think a lot along with the reality. I think because of the continuation windows and they are strong in the mid lane, up has been the general overwhelming choice. Probably 80% with the Zen are pin up, and probably 90+% with the reality or pin up. I said that's how my reality got shiny, was because the pin down one was just it was too early, it was too strong to cover. And it was okay like that. I keep contemplating drilling a pin up one and shining it because I think it might be better. But this one keeps striking for now, so it's staying in the bag as is.
Well, the other thing as well is if it's close in on the PBA50, you could actually have both.
Yeah, I could drill. Yeah, and that's kind of the plan. If I get into deeper rounds and it's close but not quite enough, then I'll get a complimentary one in there somewhere.
Okay. Real quick, let's rapid fire these. What's a good ball down from the Zen? Idle Synergy looks okay.
That's where I have it for sure. Idle Pearl, Synergy. I think those balls are pretty similar, although Idle Pearl has been discontinued. What else off of that?
I mean, High Road Pearl would be down off that. There'd be a fairly big gap, but that would be down off that.
Yeah.
I mean, Afterburner would be down, but it'd be again another pretty big gap.
Trend Shiny should be down, although it's been a little too forward.
Yeah, I mean the thing is the Zen for me, like traditionally you'd want to have a ball closer to it, off it, but I feel like I can use the Zen for longer than I can with other balls. Like for me, in a little way, the UC2 is actually a ball down from the Zen for me.
Yeah, it's a little cleaner to it. Yeah.
But, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for everybody who only had a small arsenal. But for me, the UC2 is cleaner than the Zen. So,
agreed.
Yeah. And then someone said, would the Zen be a good replacement for the Idle Pearl? Yeah, not a bad one. It's going to be, for me, the Zen's going to be more down lane than the Idle Pearl was, and a bit stronger overall. But
it's a step up. The Synergy is probably a little bit more on top of an Idle Pearl.
I think the Synergy is cleaner than the Idle Pearl for me. I don't think it's quite as strong overall. So either of those two depends. It depends which you like. If you wanted something that was a little stronger than Idle Pearl, go with the Zen. If you want something a little weaker, then you're going to probably end up going with the Synergy. There isn't really the Idle Pearl was quite unique. It was, for a pearl ball, it wasn't very clean, I didn't find. Or it was super clean. It was right in between those two. But just in general, it wasn't a ball that I particularly got left and wanted to really curve around the lane with. If you want to know, actually, really quickly, if you want to know the answer to that question, ask Chris Prather, because he used the Idle Pearl a shit ton. So he will probably be able to give you a better. Neither me or Chris really use the idle pearl very much, so we didn't really have a ball to replace there.
Right.
He said, I love my hypercell. How would the Rubicon compare? If you're talking about the original hypercell, the Rubicon is way cleaner than the original hypercell. If you want something to replace the original hypercell, I would suggest the Reality is probably the closest. The proton physics is a little bit is stronger for me than the hypercell was. So I think the Reality is a slight step down from the proton physics, and it means you can use it for a little bit longer in the block. If you want the one that's the strongest, earliest, basically the snow tire chains, whatever you want to call it, that's the proton physics. I think you kind of use that one as your super early rolly type ball if you end up in that gap.
Yeah, that's
so yeah, somebody suggested, I'm thinking Clint was talking about the UC2 being down from the Zen. So all right, well, I think we can call it quits. I think people have got bored of asking questions. Don't blame them.
Yeah, fair enough. So all right, well, let's see. We have a couple things going on this weekend. There's a doubles and trios this weekend?
Yeah, Plano. I'm going to get my ass kicked again. Hopefully not, but got to be realistic about it. I'll probably let my wife down again bowling doubles. We're bowling the mixed doubles. I think it's called the Summer Heat. Tyson Brannigan's been running a bunch of events in Plano, and then we've got the Leisha Memorial Trios on the Sunday. It's one of those eliminator type tournaments. You get a couple of lives. You got to stay in the top half each game. So you could have a very short afternoon, or you could have a very long afternoon, depending on how it goes.
There you go.
And then, of course, you've got that. And then check out, I believe it's still on CBS Sports, the PBA Tour Finals. It's got a pretty stacked field. As usual. Expect. I believe it's coming to us live from Detroit Thunder Bowl, the Arena Bay. I say the Arena Bay, and Chris gets a chill go down his spine.
It will be on noon Eastern on CBS Sports Network starting Saturday. So
I'm going to miss it. The last time I watched it, you were doing the sideline.
Yeah. Here's what it is. So
you out.
I am not part of it.
Hey, look at it this way. I mean, what a compliment. They were looking for a replacement for Kimberly Pressler, and you were the first person they thought of.
I doubt that. Somehow. They ran out of options, I think.
Oh, come on. So, Paul Henderson with the best question of the day. How did you guys become so awesome?
Our wives.
Born that way.
Well, my wife then. All right. Yeah.
I wake up and I piss excellence.
Lenny, you can stay home this week if you want. It's okay. We could all move up a spot, but
hey, Lenny, I'm looking for a doubles partner for a PBA50 doubles in Houston at the end of the year. Call me. So, okay, well, we will see you guys. I will be an entire year older on Tuesday. Keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Turning 40.
Who would have thought you'd made it there? So
yeah, look at us.
All right. Well, once again, take care of those small businesses out there. Help them get through this time. And when you get a chance, support those sponsors that support us. us, please. Storm, Rotogrip, Niner Global, Vice, Cool Whip, 3D Shoes, Master, Bowler's Mark, Mark Baker Bowling, Fire Lake Bowling Center, and Lightning Strikes. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.
See you later.